everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Doesn't matter whether it's a $100 bottle of wine or a $10 bottle of wine, should you spend your money on that? That's what I'm here for. I'm just trying to help you out. Got a busy month coming up for me. I actually get to go to a Husky game. I'm really excited about that. I like the Huskies. I like Husky Stadium. It's very cool. Disappointing loss to California with the lightning and everything. They should have really postponed the game. But they didn't, and the Huskies lost by 1 point, no less. We are going to look at Michael David wines. Now, Michael David, these guys are crazy. I mean, they do some really interesting stuff. Their labels are goofy as hell. They do the earthquake wines. They do all these different things. They have the Petite Petit. They have the Freakshow wines. And the labels are just absolutely crazy. But we sell a lot of them because people like them. So we have the Petite Petit here and the Freakshow Red blend. We're going to try those. I just want to mention that next month is Merlot, National Merlot Month. I'm looking forward to reviewing quite a few Merlot. That'll be very exciting. Hopefully I can include some blind tasting episodes. That's always fun to do those, as long as I do them quick. Not take too much time. Okay, we're going to get started right off with one of my most popular, in the store that I work at, red blends called Michael David Petite Petit. It's called Petite Petit because it has Petite Syrah and Petite Verdot. Petite Syrah has an E at the end, Petite Verdot does not. You can see that on the label. And I mean, we're talking crazy labels. You guys are probably pretty familiar with these wines. At the store, we sell this for $19. You look on Wine Searcher, there's prices all over the place. Very competitive. I'm sure all the stores are trying to get the folks to come to them to buy the Michael David Petite Petit. Big Grateful Dead fans? Oh, the color on this is stupid. Stupid dark. Both of these say, I'll say 14.5 alcohol. We talked about this in the Pinot Noir episode. You can fudge by 1% or 1.5%. You can do more if you want it, but if you get caught, it costs you some money. So it's just crazy label. Michael David are the name of the two first names of the two owners. I believe that's the truth. I believe that's the case. The two elephants on the front represent Michael and David. And yeah, just a crazy labels. You guys have probably seen these before. But if you haven't, it'd be fun to just buy a bottle to take a peek at this wild label on this. Now, one of the things I always say in my store is that I'm not going to put a wine on the shelf just because it has a cool label. I want everybody to be comfortable coming into my department knowing, well, that has a really interesting label or a really cool label. It must be good because Stan wouldn't have it in the store. And that's the absolute truth. I will not bring in a wine just because it has a cool label. It has to be at least decent wine before I'll let it come into the store. So Petite Petite, I've had it in the past. This is the, oh, I didn't even read the vintage. What a goofball I am. This is the 2016. Petite Petite, Petite Syrah, Petite Verdot, mostly Petite Syrah. Vinted and bottled by Michael David Winery, Lodi appellation. So you know Lodi's hot. Zinfandel, there are a lot of great zins come out of Lodi. Let's see what we get on the nose. Immediately I get blueberry with an undertow of raspberry. A little bit of a char element coming through, a little bit of a bacon fat component, which you would expect from Syrah. A little bit of a liqueur sort of thing coming through. I don't feel like it's not burning my nose hairs, so that's good. That blueberry is prominent with a little bit of raspberry. A little bit of vanilla coming through on this. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very, very intense. I mean, this is like, boom, smack you in the palate. Look at me. I'm a big ass, badass wine. I've got tar. I've got blueberry. I've got char. I've got earth. I got tobacco. I have red raspberry coming through underneath. Intense, intense wine. Intense, I'm talking to you. Almost liqueur-like, but not quite going there. There's a freshness underneath, which I really like, which kind of balances out the possibility of this being a goopy wine. It's not a goopy wine. It has the freshness underneath from the acidity. Now, I'm getting a little, this is interesting, a little alfalfa component coming through on the back side. It's twice now. At first I thought, nah, it's not alfalfa, but then, yeah, it's alfalfa. You know, have you ever gone by an alfalfa field? I think of alfalfa because I used to raise guinea pigs, and I always remember the alfalfa that we, you know, buy and feed them. They loved it. I just get that taste in my mouth from the smell of alfalfa. Interesting. Little eucalyptus coming through as well, which is very intriguing to me. This has some complexity. It's big, it's powerful, there's no doubt about it. I understand why people like it. You buy this bottle for 19 bucks, you are going to boom, yeah, boom, yeah, boom. I mean, it's just big. But this would be great with steak. I mean, if you had a ribeye right now, this would be fantastic with that. Long finish. I like the freshness though. I don't want to do this any disservice here. It is fresh. It's complex. It's just powerful. It's very powerful on the palate. I want to show you the color. It's just you can't even see through this bad boy. You cannot see through it at all. I mean, I can't see a thing. I've got a light right above my head, right? Nothing. That's some intensely dark wine. But I see why people, I mean, I do understand it. I get it. It's a little hedonistic, but it's still that freshness. I like that. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, you got that blueberry, you have the raspberry, a little bit of currants coming through. You also have that eucalyptus thing at the very end, a little bit of alfalfa coming through, which you may not be identified. Just because, see, so many flavors and smells and things come from your past. You know, a lot of people go, I haven't smelled alfalfa in years. How would you know it's alfalfa? You may not even see that if you haven't. A little bit of a nice acidity. I like that. This is just a grab and go wine. This is a wine that you better have a big, bad cheeseburger, a blue cheeseburger. You better have a big ribeye steak or something. You could drink this by itself. You could also drink, you know, bourbon by itself. I mean, it's not... Okay, I gotta be careful. I don't want to get carried away here. This isn't bourbon. It's 14.5 alcohol. It's big. It's powerful. It's palate saturating wine. And I'm going to go B+. I think it's good wine. It's well made. It is what it is, right? It's got Petite Sirah, Petite Verdot. Both of those, Petite Sirah can be just like that. It's true to the Petite. I'm going to even hedge towards A-, just because I'm feeling generous and just because I think it's a good wine. It has that freshness. It has balance. It has a lot of complexity, a lot of different flavors. I can't even tell you all the flavors I'm getting in this. We don't want this episode to go 30 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on. This is the 2016 Freakshow Michael David Winery Freakshow Red Wine. Now this is Syrah, Petite Sirah, and a grape I had to write down called Sozal, which is primarily out of Portugal. Sozal. Now, they don't tell you that. I looked it up. It said that's typically what they blend in this wine. Again, very dark. I think the first Freakshow wine I tried was their Freakshow Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is a red blend. Once again, extremely dark. This rolls in at $18. There you go. Again, wild labels. A dog up front, tents in the background, people all over the place. Now the cool thing about this, I think you can look this up online and they will tell you what some of these things on the label mean. So if you're ever curious about it, just look it up online. I think I believe they give you some hints on the label, kind of like "Where's Waldo," you know, sort of thing. Again, very dark. This is, I might be tempted to say this is darker. This is darker than the Petite Petit. I mean, this is like almost purple black. It's crazy. All right, let's see what we get on the nose. Again, Lodi. Yeah. Is it Lodi appellation? Sorry. Yes, there it is. You almost can't see it on this crazy label. 14.5 alcohol, ABV. I get chocolate and currants. That's prominently what I'm getting. Chocolates and currants with a little bit of a red cherry or red raspberry component coming through. But it's like smelling a chocolate currant bar, the same. Let's see what we get on the palate. Oh, wow. I mean, you think the Petite Petit was intense. This stuff is like, oof, currants, tobacco, just powerful. I mean, the currants are like almost bursting with juice, and the tobacco notes kind of give it a little bit of a balance, but it just intensifies. It starts out a little bit fresh, and it just gets big, 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 all the way to the back end where there's a little bit of tobacco that comes in, and there's just China chocolate kind of splattered throughout the palate. I think the saving grace on me for this wine is the tobacco. There's just a lot of tobacco on this, which I think kind of takes the edge off the big fruit that's on this wine. It's well made. It's big, it's powerful. It's like flashback to the first part of this century, where the big hedonistic wines were. I mean, you couldn't keep them on the shelf. Remember Layer Cake Shiraz and some of these other big wines that came out, and people just loved them. And well, even all the Barossa Valley Shiraz out of Australia, which are now waning quite a bit. You can't hardly sell them anymore, which is really sad. But in those days, this thing would just fly off the shelf. This is in a different time warp here. We're falling into a time when a lot of you wine drinkers like more subtle wines. You like Bordeaux and things like that. I have some friends that would love this, and I have some friends that would hate it. I can pick out at least 5 of my best friends that would say, "This is garbage." It really isn't garbage. It's just a style that is not in vogue right now. It is in some areas. Don't get me wrong. I have customers that would jump all over this wine. These are the Apothic Red drinkers, but this is Apothic Red with structure. This is Apothic Red with acidity. This is Apothic Red with more massive, like big ass muscles. And I don't mean to be a pick on Apothic Red, I'm not doing that. There is also a little bit of a citrusy component that comes through. So to be quite fair, this is a well-made wine. It's big, it's powerful, it has structure, it has a lot of different complexities. You don't get as much chocolate on the palate as you do on the nose, which is quite interesting. There's a nice fresh acidity, good citrus component that kind of balances everything out, and a ton of tobacco. I'm going B plus A minus. I'm going to go B plus A minus. I just have to, because we have to be careful that we don't take our preferences. And I said this in the Pinot Noir episode as well. I don't want to take my personal preferences to judge a wine. I want to judge a wine on its own, where it stands, as it is, what it's supposed to be. And this is exactly what Michael David Winery wants, and they got it. And they did it well. And even though it's big and bold and powerful, it's still varietally correct. It's still balanced. It's still seamless. It has good acidity. There's a lot of things positive about this wine. So 2B plus A minus wines, good job. You know, we want to trash them because they're big and powerful, and we shouldn't. If you don't like those style, don't buy it. I'm just saying, don't buy it. I hope you're enjoying these episodes. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day to do that. Please subscribe to my channel. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.